Hello, besties. Welcome to another episode of Your New B.F.F. I'm your host, Sophie, and in this podcast, we chit-chat all about positivity, realness, and the journey to your highest self. After this episode, I want you to leave feeling inspired and high vibe. So let's tune in because I'm so excited you're here with me today. Hello, besties. Welcome back to another episode of YNBFF. So excited to be here with you guys. This episode is going up a little bit late, I know. But let me tell you, besties, it took a little bit of... It took a lot of brain power for me on this one, okay? I don't know why. I don't know if it was that we were in the Pluto transit from Capricorn to Aquarius. You know, it could have been the cosmos. It could have just been me. It could have been a little bit of brain fog. It could have been that I was busy. But I come onto this podcast very intuitively. Since episode 1, I have told you guys I would refuse to record if the energy is not there, if I am not feeling the clarity, if I'm not feeling the openness, if I'm just not feeling the topic, right? So sometimes I want you guys to know that if I update like a day or two later, it's just that I'm still channeling messages. I'm still tapping into my intuition, into my crown chakra, trying to receive some universal downloads so that I can really give you guys the best message that I can with all the information that I have to provide and that you need to hear today. So thank you for being here today. If you are a returning listener, thank you. And if you're new here, welcome to the YNBFF community. In this community, we're all about spirituality, tapping into your faith, self-discovery, and finding your authentic self. I'm a spiritual coach and guide, and I'm so excited to be with you on this manifestation journey. Today, we are going to talk about the 3 most imperative, I really wanted to give you guys these are the 3 signs, because I feel like sometimes in these types of videos when people want to list off these are signs, it's so many signs that I'm okay, how do I even know if it's a sign, because it's so many, right? For example, seeing angel numbers. I feel like we already see angel numbers all the time, right? So I really wanted to tap in to give you guys my 3 top side effects, symptoms of that we are spiritually awakening. These are the 3 biggest signs where I feel I'm being called to elevate my mindset, soul, my body, physically, just in this journey. Throughout our journey, we are going to be going through constant phases of growth, lessons, tests, introspection, transformation, and results. And on this episode, I just wanted to chit chat with you guys about some of the most of those prominent major signs when you go through an awakening. But before we move on to that, let's kind of get on the same page. I want to talk to you guys about what is a spiritual awakening. What is it? Why it happens? What is this? And why we are being called for it. So spiritual awakenings, I feel, happen to us more than we realize. However, a lot of us ignore these signs. A lot of us ignore the fact that we are being called to a spiritual awakening. And a spiritual awakening is a profound experience. It is basically a shift in our consciousness. And it's going to bring us a greater understanding of life, the interconnectedness of all things, of who we are, mindset-wise, physically. Spiritual awakenings can vary greatly depending on each person, and it can be a subtle change, it could be a subtle awakening, while other spiritual awakenings are really big shifts in awareness and complete transformations. But nonetheless, they are all important, and they can all kind of be triggered by different things, big or small. It could be personal development, trauma, finding purpose, tapping into spirituality. There's just many different factors that can trigger a spiritual awakening. Sometimes you're triggered by a spiritual awakening without even knowing what exactly happened. So just being tuned into this podcast right now might prompt a feeling or interest in an awakening and learning more. Spiritual awakening, although it can sound like this huge, like mystical divine event, like, oh, I'm having a spiritual awakening, what's happening? It can also just be this quiet shift and elevation of consciousness. Spiritual awakenings occur when someone is aware of the spiritual world and seeks to explore that world. And it's a process of self-discovery, which many, if not all of us, will go through. And I've shared with you guys on previous episodes how I like to use the analogy a lot in our episodes of game levels, right? So think of an awakening as the nudge, or just like that promptness to elevate to that next level. Sometimes I feel spiritual awakenings can happen on their own, or they could be triggered by events, or we can put ourselves into spaces that can spark these awakenings. And putting ourselves into spaces like, for example, listening to this podcast right now, doing things like meditation, prayer, coaching, signing up with a mentor, reading spiritual books. You can prompt your own spiritual awakening because you are a spiritual being. You are a star seed. You are divinity. And you have the power. It's inside of you, bestie. And you can prompt this and tap further into it. Before we get started into the deep dive into our chit chat, I start each episode with a quote. Today's quote says it's by The Group. I'm not sure what it is, but I came across it and I thought it was such a good quote. So here it is. You think of yourselves as humans searching for a spiritual awakening, when in fact, you are spiritual beings attempting to cope with a human awakening. Seeing yourselves from the perspective of the spirit within will help you to remember why you came here and what you came here to do. Wow, like I had to read that one when I found it like a couple times, but then after I read it like the second or third time, I was like, wait a second. Yes. You have the power inside, bestie. Like I said, you are a star seed. Seeing yourself in that divine light is going to prompt you into these spiritual awakenings. But on this episode, I want to talk to you guys about the main elements. The main elements that tell me like this is happening. I am feeling it. I am feeling the nudge. I am feeling the elevation and I am feeling the awakening. And the more that you get into this mystical realm and work with magic and work with prayer and guidance and the divine cosmos, the more you are going to be in tune and know when you're having a spiritual awakening. So one of the main side effects for me, and this is like the main one, okay? One of the main ones is, there's only 3 on this episode, okay? But I'm telling you guys, these are it, okay? The main one has often been a deep exploration of my identity, beliefs, and purpose. Basically leading to like a whole reevaluation of my priorities, a search for a deeper meaning in life. Like I'll start to think like who I am as a person, my values, my principles, what I truly feel makes me who I am, right? And the compass that I want to follow. This feeling and this emotion often comes with the feeling of letting go. And guys, emphasis on letting go, okay? It's accompanied with a release of ego. Again, emphasis on release. It's like I'm exploring my identity and like who I am and who I want to be and where I want this light to guide me. But along with that, you must accept and be open to letting go all those previous thoughts, ideas, and previous thought patterns and habits and routines and the way that you were, right? We had to kind of like release all those ideas of what we thought we were and be open to what is the divine telling you. So let me tell you, like, it's not an easy process with this one because we're so attached to how we were, especially if we've been a certain way or had this idea of how we were going to be for such a long time. Some people hold on to the ideas of who they are like for their whole lives, right? So this is basically like a whole ass ego death, right? Like, it sounds so intense, but like, no matter how small or big the ego death is, like, it's taking place, baby. It's taking place. So this is basically when we just release all those perceptions of ourselves, shed those versions of ourselves that no longer serve us. And again, this does not have to be an intense transformation. It can also just be like a different perception, a shift in your belief or perspective. And even then, a shift in perspective can be huge because that can trickle down into so many different aspects of your life. But this release of the ideology of your previous self, think of it like a spiritual shed, right? Like you're just taking off all these old energies and vibes that were on top of you, all these thought patterns that have been embedded in you, and you're just open to who you want to be now in the present moment. As we talk through this, you guys, please like take this episode as it is. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. If it does, I want you guys just to release that expectation. Come into this episode with openness. The more you dive into this realm, the more things are clear and the more clarity will present itself to you. So just ask Source to open up your crown chakras at the top of our heads. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath out. Just ask Source to open up your crown chakra and third eye to absorb the information that and energy that you're meant to stick with today and release whatever is not aligned with you today. So this shift in who you are, bestie, and this new identity is being born. Being like born, yes. You are letting go of these thoughts and belief patterns that are no longer serving who you want to be, right? Like you're starting to realize like a lot of the things that I'm thinking or doing is not aligning with this person that I want to be. So this can really happen over time, like in steps and over really thinking about who you want to become and who you want to be and engaging over clarity. But now we are talking about like when you have that nudge, like when you have that, when it is time for you to elevate, this nudge is going to be impossible to ignore. You are knowing that you're no longer fitting into that mold of who you thought you were or who you were before. You're no longer this whole idea that you used to think and be and feel like. So this brings me to sign number 2, which this one is going to be, a little weird because with the first one, we feel this shift in our identity. And as you undergo this inner transformation, your sense of identity is also going to undergo a significant shift. And this can lead you to kind of feeling kind of confused as you navigate the evolving aspects of who you are and your role in the world. So number 2 is feeling like there's this disconnect, like an out of tune, like you're just kind of confused, maybe a little bit lost in your purpose. One of the ways I like to describe it is kind of like you're going somewhere and you know where you're going, but you don't have the GPS. So you're just like navigating like, okay, I'm going the right way, but like, is this how it should be? And then is that how it should be? Like, am I doing it right? This is such a big part of a spiritual awakening, I've realized, besties, and it's happened to me so much, especially in the last like year and a half, 2 years. I've really been navigating, who is this person that I am becoming? Does she do these things? And sometimes I do get confused about it, right? Because I'm still kind of holding on to some of the parts of the before me, right? And as you're becoming this new person, you're learning about this new person that you're becoming. What are their habits? What are their routines, right? And sometimes you might fall back into those patterns, and sometimes it can be confusing and it can be a little bit lost. So that's number 2, feeling a little bit like you're confused. You know what you want, but you're trying to get there. And that feeling can be a natural consequence of the spiritual journey. And this also does not mean, when I say disconnect, I just want to put it out there, this doesn't mean apathy, but rather a loosening like of the attachment. You're not as like attached to those expectations or even relationships that you used to have. You're just like, okay, I know it's important to me, right? So you're disconnected, but you still know, right? So it's kind of like a confusion, a little bit of a brain fog. And this side effect of a spiritual awakening, it's more of like a rerouting into who you really are. It's a shift in our alignment, right? So we're getting shifted into, imagine you're getting shifted into you're getting rerouted. So in getting rerouted and getting there, you're going to be a little lost, right? And it's going to unfold. So you just have to trust the process, allow for more authentic connections and downloads to come in, and that's just going to help and stimulate the journey. So be curious about the detachment, and with this, let your heart guide you. Be open to the next side effects, and that is such a big, strong one. The last side effect, you guys, so you're feeling a little bit confused. You're feeling, that was the last one, right? You're feeling a little bit confused. Then the first one we talked about is you're becoming this person that you want to be, right? So you're becoming this person you want to be. You're a little bit confused on how to navigate this. And the next one, which I think definitely evolves over time, but if you tap in, you've realized that your intuition is heightened, right? Your senses are being sharpened. You can feel more energy in the room, maybe even more energy in yourself, right? Like maybe you're a little bit more tuned into yourself and what you feel. You're like, you know what? Like I used to fuck with that and now I don't. Like that's an intuitive message right there, right? Like tap in. Also know when it's intuition and when it's ego. That's a big one. But your intuition, just that download that you get from source, it's sharpened. You're getting more intuitive messages. And this can manifest in a lot of ways, right? So heightened intuition doesn't just mean that you are reading the energy and kind of knowing things, your clairvoyancy is heightened. It can also just mean feeling more empathy, feeling more sensitive to the world and to things around you. A heightened intuition can mean more synchronicities at the right time, right? Developing clear visual images or visions in your mind that provide information, experiencing sensations when you receive insights, a connection to nature, a shift in energy awareness. And also a big one is enhanced creativity. Experiencing this boost and it's just flowing effortlessly, right? Like you're not feeling like you have to force this creativity, like you're just receiving more downloads. And also just a deeper introspection. So having just like more time for self-reflection, leading more to a better understanding of self, a better understanding of your thoughts, your emotions, feeling more empathy, feeling more self-love. These are all signs that your intuition is being heightened, okay? So don't just think, oh, intuition is just, knowing things before. No, it also has all these other things. It's also being receptive to things that maybe you weren't before. Tapping into your inner truth, tapping into your purpose, and also making decisions more quickly and confidently. Like you're into it because your intuition just tells you, right? You're not like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Oh, is this right? Is this wrong? Like you're sitting on it forever. Like, sometimes we do have to think over some decisions. So I'm not just saying just go on a whim. I'm a Sag bestie. I can be impulsive sometimes. So I'm not saying that. I know some decisions you got to sit with. But what I'm saying is like the easy decisions, the one that should not take that long, you just know yes or no, right? Like you're getting these spiritual insights into what is going to elevate you and keep you on your path of alignment. Everyone's intuitive experiences manifest a little bit differently. That's why I have to throw that in there. So pay attention to these signs and just trust your inner guidance. What is it telling you? Was that an intuition? The more you become attuned to your intuition, you can cultivate and develop it further. And if you want to get more into learning about your intuition and tapping into your powers, follow along, bestie. I am here to be your guide and your bestie on this transformative journey. It is such a blessing to be here and speak with you guys today. I truly feel my happiest when I am sharing and speaking on this journey with you guys. I truly feel called and in my purpose, and I'm just so excited to see where this community goes. My classes have been going great. I am getting my certification as a spiritual coach from the IIN Institute, which is amazing. It's Deepak Chopra's school. So if you haven't heard of it, it's thebomb.com so far. So I'm finishing up that certification, and I am going to continue to get further certifications. If you guys haven't already followed me on the Instagram, please do so there, because I am posting daily, and I love to chit chat with you guys on there and just grow the community. Share this podcast with other besties that you feel would really benefit from this type of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And if you are new here, I end each podcast with 3 affirmations. 3 affirmations that you can use before, after your meditations to really amplify the energy and get yourself grounded and in the present moment. So these are today's affirmations. I am open to the infinite possibilities of my spiritual journey. I trust the wisdom of my higher self, and I am guided by the intuitive insights that flow within me. I release attachments to the material world and embrace the richness of my spiritual wealth. I loved these affirmations, besties. Please don't forget to leave a review. It helps the podcast out so much. I'm so excited to see where 2024 takes us. As your guide and spiritual coach, I hope these insights have ignited a spark within you. Remember that manifestation is not just about attracting things. It's about creating and co-creating with the universe a life that aligns with your soul's purpose. Let's carry this into our daily lives. And as we step back into the world, may you carry the energy of manifestation with you. And until next time, besties, I am going to be uploading again this week. At the end of the week, keep your shining light, keep manifesting your dreams, and remember that you are the architect of your reality. I love you guys so much, and I'll see ya on the next one. Bye! Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of YN B.F.F. If you love what you heard, please support by following our podcast and leaving a stellar review. You can also follow my socials posted in the show notes. I am so excited to catch you in the next episode, and until then, stay feeling high, blessed, and divine, besties. Bye!